In the following scenario, a First Nations elder named Mr. Thomas Joe is near end of life and decisions are required. An interprofessional case conference has been called to address end-of-life decision-making before Mr. Joe loses capacity to participate in decision-making. As you watch the segment, consider the following questions. What is happening? What issues does it raise? What emotions come to your awareness? What implications does it have for how we practice?
At a patient conference today, I'm presenting Mr. Joe's case. He is a patient nearing the end of his life. We anticipate that he won't be conscious for much longer, and there are some decisions that have to be made about how we deal with his passing. Do we resuscitate him? Where would he like to spend his last days? Things like that. Our problem is that he's not communicating with us, and his daughter is the only one who visits him, and she won't talk to me or the nurses. His brother and sister are in denial and don't visit, and his wife has already passed away. We need to know what to do for him, and I'm not sure what our options are in this case.
So, has anyone tried to communicate with Mr. Joe about what he wants?
He's talked to me a couple of times, and by all indications, he wants the family to make the decisions for him when the time comes.
I've known the family for some time now, and they're uncomfortable discussing anything about Thomas. I don't think they're ready to let him go.
They haven't talked to me either, and really, neither is Mr. Joe.
I found many patients are more comfortable talking to their nurses.
The family's very quiet and self-contained, and the brother and sister are still in denial.
You know, there is George, who's an Aboriginal man on staff with me. He's from the same community as Mr. Joe.
You know, we really have to act quickly. How do we proceed?
I can visit with Mr. Joe and see if he would like to talk with George. I believe they have similar values. Mr. Joe, his family, and George could have a chat together.
His daughter has spoken with me a few times. Maybe I can have a word with her in private. I'll try and set that up next time she comes in.
That's a good idea.
Providing hospice palliative care is complex and requires a range of skills, perspectives, and leadership from a diversity of providers. It demands interdependence among providers and a willingness to share strengths and accountability for problem solving and managing care. Team does not always mean individuals whose responsibility is joint contribution to a particular unit or care task, but rather who is most appropriate to help achieve the goals of care in a given situation. This is particularly so in tightly resourced primary care settings. Being open-minded, creative, and engaged about who is the most appropriate person to help a patient and family in planning care is an important example of working collaboratively as a team. Being open to the perspectives of colleagues from various disciplines can be a productive way of exploring complex care planning and jointly approaching seemingly intractable problems. It can reveal issues, concerns, and options that are not apparent to any one care provider involved with a patient and family.